Hi, and welcome to Elevate with Elisheva, a show that's based on healing from within, using tools from Kabbalah and personal development to get you there. And this whole process of healing is to help you love yourself fully and unconditionally, even in the hardest parts of ourselves. On today's episode, I have a very special guest, Maya, an astro guide and astrologer, who will be helping me guide you guys in understanding astrology more and how it also connects to Judaism and also getting her point of view as well. So Maya, how about you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited. So I'm Maya, as Elisheva said, I'm an astrologer and astro guide, coach, spiritual life coach. I've been into the world of astrology for the past 5-6 years, like deep into it. Before that, I knew my sun sign and I've been following, the daily horoscopes for years, but that was the point when I realized that I am not only my sun sign, and there's so much more behind that. My whole birth chart, which kind of defines my story and journey. So I've been into that. And for the past 2 years, it's been a huge part of my business. I do readings, I do workshops, natal chart readings and relationship astrology, and kind of like looking at the energy and the transits to date, because the birth chart is kind of what happened in the sky when you were born, but then there are the transits now and how that interacts with your birth chart and how it influences you personally, but it also affects the collective. So that's what I'm super passionate about, guiding people on their journey, connecting to their soul, aligning with their soul and purpose, and kind of shining their light in the world and sharing their gifts is what I'm super passionate about.
Wow, that's amazing. I get so many questions from people who want to know and know better about their signs. So I want to take you back there for a second and explain to us, the listeners, for someone who may not know, what is a sun sign?
Okay, so the signs are kind of divided into more of the faster moving planets and slower moving planets. So sun is kind of something that changes every month. So the sun and the moon and the rising sign are kind of signs that define who we are in our everyday. As opposed to the slower moving planets, which are like Saturn and those kind of define our purpose or our journey or here, or what we're here to like really work through hard. And our sun sign is kind of where we shine our light in a way. It's our core. It's who like we are on a core level. It's our highest soul expression. And we kind of evolve into that throughout life. And we kind of need to step more and more into the higher expression of our sun sign versus our lower expression, because each sign has a higher vibration, lower vibration, and we need to learn to like embrace that higher vibration and kind of let go of the lower. And when we find ourselves in that lower vibration, we need to like step up, and that's where we grow. So that's our sun sign, for example, and then based on which sign it falls in your birth chart, it says something about you. So that's why also in the daily horoscopes and what people mostly know is our sun sign, because it's kind of like our soul's expression, where we shine our light and who like we really are on a core level. So it was like it's the easiest to like, group together. Every month we have a new sign for the sun, and we can like group it into people and say, okay, this is your daily horoscope. But there's so much more besides that is not shared.
It goes so deep, and today we're really diving deep, like understanding like the sign of Gemini and Sivan, and so that people under this energy, because this energy really affects everyone, and it doesn't matter if you're born under the sign of Gemini or in the month of Sivan, you are still affected by it, some more less than others. And I would like for you to tell us a little bit, like, why are the birth charts so special and unique to everyone?
Okay, so first of all, it's based on the time you were born. So it's like the date. Like, for example, the sun sign is based on the day you were born. And then like in that month, everyone is in the same sun sign. But to see your whole birth chart, you need your date, you need the place of birth, and then you need the exact hour. And then once we have all that, we put it in the system and we have your chart. So your sun is in a sign and it's in a house. I won't get into that now, but it has like a sign and a house. And then the moon was at a specific location at that time. The rising sign was at a specific location at that time. Mars was at a specific location, Mercury, Venus, Saturn. And then like all those together kind of change like between the minutes, or each one is like, depending on their pace, changes a bit. So we have like a whole different picture per person when we look at the birth chart. And that's why it's kind of like your soul blueprint, your unique journey here.
Wow, that's so special. So,
and we also like each have free will. So we kind of like, there are things we can't like run away from or cannot ignore, but there are lessons we kind of have to, you know, learn and go through, but everybody has like a choice also what they want to like step more into and grow through and open their stuff up to. So even like two people with the same chart can have like a different story also based on where they, you know, were born, how they grew up. A lot of people also ask about like twins. So it's kind of like the energy of them is like very the same based on the chart, but what they chose, their decisions from day to day brought them like on a different journey.
Wow, it's so fascinating. Like I've been using Kabbalistic astrology to help me guide in my work of what I do, writing about the energy of the month. Even this podcast, every month I record a video on the energy of the month according to Kabbalah. And this month is the month of Sivan, which is Gemini, the month of twins. And so last week I was speaking about how it intertwines and connects with Shavuot, with the holiday, and also the energy that we're feeling. So what are some things that are surfacing now in this energy of Gemini that some people are probably feeling?
Okay, I'll share, but I also want to know, like, from the Kabbalah point of view, how it's connected. So Gemini is, when I learned it, and I also like to talk about it, like the signs, you know, they start from Aries, and they each are kind of like create this tribe. So like the Aries is kind of the first one, the leader, the pioneer, the one who steps forward and, you know, finds the place, settles, and everybody comes after. And then Taurus is here to kind of build and create structure and make money, start making money. And then comes Gemini, who is like, okay, like, let's create community, let's connect with between people, let's create friendships, let's talk, let's share knowledge, let's share information. And Gemini is also like kind of like the complementary to Sagittarius or opposite, depending how you kind of look at it. Each sign has like their
I feel
side.
That one deep.
So Gemini is kind of the local teacher. It's here to create connection, to build community, to speak, to share knowledge, to share information, but kind of like more of, you know, the news, more like local teaching rather than Sagittarius, which is spiritual global teachers here to share like higher wisdom, philosophy, culture, religion, languages. And Gemini is kind of like the local community teacher. And during this time, it's kind of important, first of all, to notice where we're like falling to more like small talk and gossip and things that are like less from like your soul, and kind of look to connect and create those meaningful connections and group with people, but in a more like, meaningful way and less around the like chit chat and gossip, and to also like speak your truth. Gemini is kind of connected to like speaking and really like sharing your voice, and sharing knowledge, sharing information, passing information between people. So that's about Gemini. And the thing is that like exactly the way you said it. It's Gemini is the current collective energy, because that's the month we are in. And no matter when we were born, we're feeling like that Gemini like energy. And not only if you were born then. So that's like what we're going through. And each month we're going through a different sign. So we're collectively feeling that sign.
It's really amazing because it's also really relates to what's going on in the Hebrew calendar. In Nisan, which is Aries, like right before that, we had the sign Dagim, Pisces. So that was like the end of the astrological calendar. And so then we were birthed in Nisan, which is Aries. So it's like the child of the zodiac also. And that really relates to the birth of the Jewish nation when we're leaving Egypt. And then the whole through the month of ER, which is the month that we were previously in Taurus, it's like they're the toddler, you know, they're growing again, and that's like the whole soul's journey. And this is what we learn in Kabbalistic astrology, is that these are the signs and energies and that are actually on Earth. And there's also the planets that are also affecting us. So it's like through these planets, this light, this energy is coming down onto Earth. And it's like both of these things, like what's going on Earth and above, is affecting each other. So in Gemini, as you said, the same thing. Like this is also what I've been learning on Gemini, is that they are an air sign, but also because it's the spring, there's a lot of fire. So they love to learn. They're really intelligent people. And it really connects to the month of Sivan, of Shavuot, because when we receive the Torah on Har Sinai, we receive 2 tablets, and Gemini is duality. And everything that we are learning this month is to bring 2 opposites together. And Gemini, they have this really special gift, this unique value that they have, is bringing 2 sides together. They're able to reconcile people. And it doesn't really matter like where they're coming from, like the other people. The Gemini have this really special gift of bringing 2 opposites together. And this is also something that we see with Jacob and Esav. They were both twins. So and then when we're receiving the Torah, it's becoming there's this unification, because Gemini is all about unification, unity. And we learned that this is the energy that we have in this month, because there is the unification between God and the people. When we receive that zivug, when we receive that connection between them. And so it's a really, really powerful month on also understanding that connection between yourself, God, your connection with your community, and really learning things in depth. Because if we're going back a few months in Tishrei, which is I believe like September, October time, when we had the high holidays, those are the times where we're planting, the Hebrew months. So we are planning, we're planting the seeds for the whole entire year. And during the winter months, we're basically nurturing these seeds and having them grow strong roots. And then during the summertime, we are allowing these roots to come into fruition and to grow. And Geminis, they have this tendency to basically like fly, that they're just like, they're not really learning anything in depth. And this is an energy that I've been really, really feeling these past couple of days, is to like stop the projects I'm currently working on and just start something new. And it's been really difficult for me to stay grounded, because Geminis, they have a really hard time to commit. Like, yes, they bring unification, but there's a really hard time committing to certain projects, commit to relationships, also. And so I'm like really working on currently just like committing to the current projects that I have before I like end them and like start something new. It's a major struggle.
It's kind of finding a balance between like, yes, it's calling you to follow the, those inner callings, the insights that you're getting, your curiosity, like what lights you up, to follow that, because it's part of your journey. And, later on, it's going to be kind of your gift. But on the other hand, yes, like to stay grounded and to continue like the projects, continue what you were on, but it is okay to reroute, because we're kind of in the energy of kind of reevaluating things, and things are changing drastically because of the eclipse season that we had, and then Mercury retrograde. So we're kind of like shifting. So if projects, like, it's kind of important to understand where something is not aligned anymore and not meant for you, and that's why you need to leave that project, versus like, I kind of need to explore and want to learn more and build my like toolkit. So it's kind of finding that balance, and yeah, not really ditching anything just yet, waiting a little bit for the energy to pass to see if it's really like what you want to do, or you're just like all over the place. And our head like goes over time in Gemini season. It's like, for me in the beginning with Mercury retrograde, it was like buzzing all the time, like so many ideas, so many things I want to do, and like it was hard to stay grounded. And then you need to do other activities like movement or whatever like helps you ground to really like get back and continue on your path and continue going.
That's really amazing that you brought in the word balance, because according to Kabbalistic astrology, the energy of this month is also balance. When we receive the Torah, it's that tool, the Torah, is the tool to bring balance into our life. And you spoke about free will before. So we have this free will to make like make things in our lives to be more balanced. And so that's like, this whole month is all about balancing work, relationships, self-love. And I want to just dive deep into really discovering this alignment, this feeling of alignment, either between like abandoning a project or just like leaving it, calling it, like pivoting. Really, that's the real word, to like pivot a project versus something that doesn't align with you anymore. Because I feel like that's like a major struggle that some people are really feeling this month. So can you dive deep, a little bit deeper, explain to us, like, how do we know when we are in alignment with something versus it's not aligned with us anymore and we just need to pivot or hold on to it a little bit more, because it could be things that are surfacing within us, like fears or doubts that are misleading us in this process?
Yeah, so that's like, it's important also to note that I personally also look at like the transits and what happens now
What
in the
are
sky.
transits?
So okay, sorry. So it's transit is like where the planets are now in the sky, as opposed to where they were the moment you were born. So like, now the moon is in Sagittarius, because tomorrow is the full moon in Sagittarius. And then it's like how it kind of like impacts us and relates to our chart. So we were in eclipse season, and during eclipse season, for example, it's kind of aligns you with your destiny and with your path. And it's here like for you not to create and change and move and do and push, and it's for you to just like kind of be present and get like what the universe is doing for you and shifting for you, and like receive in a way and surrender in a way and not force anything to align you with your destiny. And then Mercury retrograde comes in, and it's kind of here to like slow things down and bring up situations, people from the past to help you look at things differently, to change your perspective, to kind of understand. A lot of people
Mercury
go
is
back.
the teacher.
Yeah. Mercury is actually like the ruler of Gemini. So Mercury is like the teacher, the communicator, then your internal processor, the way you think, the way you speak. So it's kind of shift things like, okay, reevaluate, look at things, what's coming up, not to take action. So like during Mercury retrograde and eclipse season, I personally wouldn't like actively come and make a huge change. I would say, okay, unless it's taken from me, unless I'm fired. Okay, I don't have anything to do, but
that's
knowing
like
that it's
external from you, like you don't have, like it's beyond your power, like something that's taken from you. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And in Mercury retrograde, the same, like I'd wait. So I think, what date is it? Like a week and a half ago, it went started going direct, but there is still like a 2-week shadow period after, and still in which we still feel that retrograde energy, and that backwards spin and hiccups and technology and different like things are still happening. So we're kind of on that wave, and we're like coming out like slowly. The energy, many people who have been feeling like stuck, confused, going through things in the past few weeks are it's slowly like clearing up. Like we're starting to like move forward. And Jupiter is in Aries. So Jupiter is kind of the expander. And in Aries, it's like the self. Like, what do you want to do? What do you have to share? Like, move forward, jump ahead, go after what you want in a way. And like to your question, it's really, for me, it's helpful to also know what's happening, to like know, okay, wait, now like, you know, Mercury retrograde, I always have like same themes and patterns of like kind of destructive, like want to end something, leave a job, leave a relationship, or whatever I've been in during that period. So it's like, okay, wait, like look at what's coming up and wait for like, you know, the energy to move, and then see if that's really my truth. And if it's like projects or I always like try to give it like a time, like move past the energy to see if it really doesn't feel aligned, or it was just kind of that energy. And I always look for that passion and excitement. And I always try to do more of it, because the more I do more of that project or whatever it is, I can see if I'm excited or drawn to it. Because sometimes like when we're in a period of like, I don't know, in the past when I had like less readings, for example, coming in, so I was like, you know, the passion kind of like shuts down in a way, but then you do more of it and then you see, oh, do I feel called to it? So it's kind of like playing. And I also always recommend, if people feel stuck or confused, to just like, you know, pause, ground yourself, connect to your body, feel into like what feels right, and also work with a coach, work with a healer to help you navigate those thoughts, help you see if it is indeed like fear, or what is pulling you, what is like your ego, what is kind of like leading the path for you, and not possibly not your truth. Because also, for example, tomorrow with the full moon in Sagittarius, it's really about like identifying your truth. What do you want to do? Who do you want to be? Not what everybody else is trying to tell you like who to be. So it's like really gaining that power.
So that's like a deep, deep inner work that a lot of people are so afraid to do. They're really afraid to meet themselves, see themselves for who they really are. And it's easier to, you know, to confront other people, but to confront yourself is a whole different type of journey. So learning your truth is definitely a process. For me, it's really helped process of elimination. I really aligned with what you said when, you know, choosing what's best for me and not what other people want for me. Because we think that we know what we want, but actually we're living the life for the other person. If it's for a parent or a partner, we're not really living in our truth. And there could be signs that things are not really aligning with us. If we're really anxious at work, or we're not feeling fulfilled, or we're not feeling lit up by the tasks that we're doing. For instance, right now, I'm so lit up when Maya is talking. It's amazing. And you're so knowledgeable, and like all this information that you're passing over is incredible, really helping people, you know, gain the tools and making the decisions that, you know, decision making is scary, but we have to remind ourselves that we can do hard things. So tomorrow in the full moon, you know, when there is a full moon, what are some ways that people can, you know, really connect to their truth, understand, or maybe detach themselves from distractions? It's very common for people to distract themselves with things that, you know, if it's sitting in front of TV or work. I find myself, if I'm overwhelmed and I really don't want to face my truth, like something is bothering me, I distract myself with work completely. It's a habit that I notice that I have. And because it's a lot easier to deal with surface level things. And then when we're going a bit deeper, that's where the real work lies in healing. And a big part of healing is to really meet yourself where you're at and understand that you may not have all the answers at that time. Something that's been surfacing for me a lot these past couple of days is a lot of self-forgiveness for making choices in the past that I didn't do. I'm really focusing on that. So like that Mercury feeling is like really coming and bringing choices, like it's revealing the choices that I made that were probably that did not align with me. And I'm reminding myself at that moment that like I knew the best. Like I knew the best based on the knowledge that I had at that time. I didn't know what I know now, and I can just send a lot of forgiveness to who I was. And healing from the past is such a journey. So I just sent her tons of love, tons of compassion, radical self-forgiveness. Those have been in my toolbox for this time that's like surfacing.
So is it actually kind of like regret or forgiveness for things that you didn't do, or that you did and are like a mistake in your opinion?
That I didn't do because I didn't know any better at that time. So it's like I knew the best according to the knowledge that I had at that time. I didn't know any better, literally. And sometimes I wish I knew what I know now, but I only know now because I went through this process, this journey. And so if
I
someone
had like goosebumps now, like shivers, because it's like really true. Because people always want to, even now, like you don't know the future, you don't know what lies ahead. Any decision you make is only based on what you know now, and we're allowed to make mistakes, and we're allowed to, that's like our journey, that's how we grow. And that's why you're here wiser and smarter than what you were a few years ago. And it doesn't mean you're not going to make more mistakes. It's just like we won't necessarily repeat the same things. And it also is what makes you a beautiful guide to others. Now, again, as a guide, you can't, you can't move their journey like quicker by, sharing everything, but you can help them, see clearer, maybe things that you didn't see. They always say, what would you teach your younger self? What would you say to your younger self? So that's like your gift for helping others, the things that you learned on your journey, and it's all part of it.
It really brings like so many things beautifully together. And there's so many like questions, and I also highly recommend if anyone has questions to send either me or Maya, either on our Instagrams as well. And who knows, maybe we'll do another episode answering these questions. I think it's like really, really amazing stuff.
I'd love that.
Yeah, right. Like the idea just came to me now because I'm sure people have so many questions about this, and I would love to ask you them as well. So before we wrap everything up, like, what is some tools that you can give to our listeners today on connecting to their truth during this time?
So there are many things that we can do. In general, for me, it's more of kind of like quieting down the mind in any way possible. For me, like my truth like pops up then, like my ideas, my inspiration, what I need to do, who I am. Yes, they're like practices to figure out your values, different like coaching practices, but just like the simplest thing is to quiet my mind in any way. And for me, it's being in nature, dipping in the ocean, working out, moving my body, listening to music, dancing, I don't know, smelling aromatherapy blend, just like sitting still, breathing. There are so many like techniques, and just even doing that like for a few minutes during these few days, because we're already in the energy of the full moon, before and after, and just really like connecting to you and asking, yourself, what lights you up? What do you want to do next? Who do you want to be? How do you want to express yourself? Journaling on it, like really asking yourself the questions after you kind of clear your mind and connect back to your body and see what comes up, and let it guide you moving forward, and find someone accountable if you can, because sometimes it's really not easy to do everything on your own. Friend, partner, coach, whatever you feel called to.
Wow, absolutely. I love the question that you said. How do you want to express yourself? I think a lot of times that we forget that have so much more to offer than just sitting at a desk job, or just sitting, that we're not fully revealing our potential. And part of being here, like you said, is we're here to transform. We're here to show these different parts of ourselves. Also, according to Kabbalah, we have these challenges that are before us, that are surfacing. And part of this journey here is to dive into the fear. And I know it's so crazy and it's so hard, but we want to rise above our nature. And our nature to this is to stay in our comfort zone, to stay closed up, to stay in that fear and do what's regular and be in the place of the known. And then when we begin to go on this journey of healing or revealing our potential, our self-expression, then we're noticing that we are called to go outside of what is comfortable into the unknown. And that is super scary. So Maya, what you said about quieting the mind, it really is a reflection of how we are within. So without what's external of us, once that we can quiet within ourselves, then the chaotic world, spirituality, people think that spirituality is just so nice and fuzzy and gratitude, but really it's something that grounds us during chaotic times. Only it's something personal development also has when we're working on ourselves, but together with spirituality, we're really able to ground ourselves, quiet the mind, and then everything outside of ourselves sort of begins to also find that harmonious movement that okay, we are where we need to be at the exact time, and whatever it is that we're going through is meant for us to transform. And it's this beautiful process, and finding your truth, even connecting to your truth, is really through that quiet process that you do. If it's movement, meditation, journaling, and it is a process, it doesn't happen overnight, but you will get that light bulb moment along the way.
Yeah, and it really helps. I always say that people, we go through things, and also it depends on what you have in your chart, how you have cycles of kind of that noise and shaking up your world and stuff like that. And the more you have those practices and that self-care and those rituals and that spirituality, the more the less things shake you up when there's a mess outside. And the more, it's always growth. So it's not that you're not going to fall down, right? But you can get up quicker and faster, and with that support, rather than staying in that low for long. So it's really one of the most important things I learned on this journey.
Yeah, there's a very Kabbalistic principle that says when everything is chaotic outside, you're quiet on the inside. And when everything is chaotic in here, you're quiet on the outside. Because you're exactly right. It's a very powerful process, because we're not looking to be impulsive. We need to pause, slow down, and especially if things are chaotic in here, tune into it, because the noise will always be there, especially if it's those voices that are telling you, hey, something's up, it's time for you to come in and reflect and get to know yourself, because that's the most beautiful part of being here, is knowing who you are, knowing your truth, expressing yourself, and everyone has this potential.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so important, and something I wish more people learn and understand, connect to, because it's kind of what will rise everybody up in a way and bring in more light here, the more we are connected.
Wow, that just gave me chills also, because I see it all the time with people who don't know their worth, and they don't know that they have such an amazing potential transformation. So I really hope that this episode gives them that push and that guidance to guide them into these transitions in their lives.
Yeah, me too. We're here if you have any questions.
Yeah. You can find this episode on Elevate with Elisheva, either the podcast or YouTube. And if you have any questions for me or Maya, you can find me on my Instagram at elisheva.lavi. And for Maya, your Instagram is
Maya_Lieber.
Okay, cool. And I definitely would love to do another episode. If you guys have any questions of like the audience, would love to dive in. And yeah, thank you so much for joining the episode today. It was an honor to have you. And thank you everyone for listening. And until next time, I'll see you next week.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Elisheva.